that was done back then is still current or applicable today. A lot of things have changed, including an approved Wailea 670 right next door, including a dying reef system, including no more water, including a level of service F roadway system, including not enough police officers, not enough parks. You know, since that time we've had a South Maui carrying capacity study done in anticipation of the general plan. It says we're over 200 acres short of parks in South Maui. Shows we're almost 50% deficient in police officers, according to national standards on a per capita rate. Everybody knows we need medical services. I mean, we are deficient in infrastructure in almost every area. No high school. Kids in Kihei have to drive into Central Maui every day, in and out. Take a bus. I mean, that's a hardship that nobody else in this county suffers, except for Kihei. So that's why all of these analyses are important, Mr. Chairman. Nobody did a analysis of the recreational resources in South Maui. No identification of the traditional beach and mountain trails. All of these are requirements in our application for a change in zoning, none of which was done. So, you know, we're basically, in a lot of these conditions that we're putting in, we're just guessing that what we're going to do is going to adequately mitigate. And I can tell you right now, some of them that passed will not adequately mitigate, especially the traffic problem. You know, one of the requirements in a change in zoning is that the council has to make findings. It says right here, the council may grant a change of zoning if all the following criteria are met. Section 040 of 19510. The proposed request meets the intent of the general plan and the objectives and policies of the community plan. Well, I know my community plan like the back of my hand because I have read it like a Bible, because I see this as the plan for my community. I see this as a managed growth plan for how South Maui is supposed to be developed. And I can tell you right now, not only were many of these objectives and policies not addressed in the application, they've never been addressed at all. They've been entirely overlooked. So I don't know how we can find that this project meets these objectives. And I'm not going to read them all, but I'm going to read the ones I think is important. And you know, when the Makena Community Plan was adopted in 1998, people were aghast that much development was designated on the community plan map. Enough designation to increase the population in South Maui to 100,000 people. 100,000 people. I mean, please. But we were all told, and the council was told, oh, don't worry, we've got a concurrency requirement in here. And if the developer doesn't meet the concurrency requirement, then he's not going to get an approval. And everybody thought, oh, well, okay, that's a safeguard. As long as we got, you know, infrastructure concurrency requirement, then South Maui is going to be okay. Well, Nobody seems to be paying any attention to the concurrency requirement. Nobody. Not the planning department, not the planning commission, not this august body. Because we are still deficient in infrastructure in South Maui, egregiously deficient. Yet we've allowed our population to grow at twice the rate that the community plan planned for. The population we're supposed to reach in South Maui by 2010, we already reached it in 25. The land use designations on the community plan map are not an assertion that infrastructure will be provided to these areas, but merely that it would be appropriate to develop these areas as designated on the maps if the necessary infrastructure and services are available. Anybody know when they're going to be available? Anybody know when we're going to have adequate regional roadway capacity? When we're going to get a police station, a high school, medical facilities, adequate park space? You know, even the 50-acre regional park isn't going to even put a dent in the amount of park that we need in South Maui to meet the current population. Upon adoption of this plan, allow no further development unless infrastructure, public facilities, and services needed to service new development are available prior to or concurrent with the impacts of new development. We have no guarantee that's going to happen. None whatsoever. I want to read to you what our community plan says about the extremely valuable cultural heritage that South Maui holds. These again are policies and objectives in the community plan that we're supposed to be confirming are met in this application. Identify, preserve, protect, and restore significant historical and cultural sites. Excuse me. Foster an awareness of the diversity and importance of cultural and archaeological resources and of the history of Kihei Makena. Promote distinct cultural resources as an identifying characteristic of the region. Encourage and protect traditional Mauka and Makai accesses, cultural practices, and rural lifestyles.